Yeah, ready to go, man, lock and load. That's right, I swear to God that I can drop you, bro. Yeah, I got a shot and I ain't stopping, no. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable. Yeah, everybody knows that I'm breaking down. Everybody knows I ain't faking now. Everybody knows my heart's vacant now. Yeah, she hates me now, I made mistakes but now I don't ever wanna be alone. I don't really ever feel at home. On my own, in the zone, that's the only way I know. Feeling low, about to blow back up. Here I won't ever let the doubt creep in. Gotta pop a couple more aspirin. I don't think I'll ever let you in. Easier to break it off best friends. I don't really understand myself. I don't really understand, need help. I don't wanna be left on the shelf. Couldn't even hear me if I yelled. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, it's so cold outside, break down, always feel like I could break now, but I never let it take me to that place now. I won't ever let my thoughts get away now. I got better things to do, picking fate now. I just wanna be the best, call me great now. I don't know if I'm okay or insane now. I remember better days on the playground, hoping I can find my way to even when I'm feeling down, I fight, even when I don't know what is right. I'ma pick a side, and I'ma take pride. I will decide my fate and I will never let them tell me who I am. If you try to shape me, I'll be damned. Planet on the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, it's so cold outside, I'm
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to episode 14 of season 2 here of the NEXXTCAR podcast. Once again, we are joined with Peyton Tulloch and Matt Tucker. What's going on, fellas?
What's up, Ronnie?
What's up, Ron?
Oh, you know, living a dream. It's been a wild week. Motorsports, man, I don't know what is happening, but last week lost another good one in the World Rally Championship Tour. Craig Breen, one of the up-and-coming legends, 34 years old. Well, he was in a bad accident, hit a tree during one of his practice runs, and another motorsport driver that has been a huge part in the car world, well, didn't survive, and we lost another one. It's been a rough start to the year. I mean, we lost Ken Block, then Justin Owen 2 weeks ago, and then now Craig Breen. So, what is happening in the motorsports world?
Everybody forgets how dangerous motorsports is. Every time these guys get in these cars, I mean, they're always risking themselves to, injury and possible death. And it doesn't matter what series it is, every single one's dangerous. So, you know, it's sad, but the way the world goes, I guess.
Absolutely, yes, sir. But let's start off with the big news this week. Jimmy Johnson and Scott Dixon inducted into the Motorsports Hall of Fame in 2024. Obviously, two guys that just absolute at the top level of their individual sport. Scott Dixon in IndyCar, Jimmy Johnson, we all know the story with him, his 7 championships, tying Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt. So, two of the absolute best in their respective sports. Peyton, start us off with this induction because that is a big one.
Yeah, I mean, this is an obvious one. I mean, these are two goats of their respective series. Both have won, countless races and championships. So, no surprise on either. It was a matter of when, not if. And congrats to both of them.
Yeah, I mean, two guys. I mean, arguably one of the best in each car that they've driven. Jimmy Johnson, obviously 7-time champion, and Scott Dixon, multiple time, I think, champion. So yeah, congrats to both of them, and they're or they're worthy of this honor getting into the Hall of Fame. So congrats to both of them too, and also Jimmy Johnson though he was hanging out at the Martinsville this week. I think that's the first time that Johnson's been there as a team owner. So other than as the driver, so I thought that was pretty cool too.
Absolutely, yes, sir. But let's get into the NASCAR world here. Truck Series, very interesting race they had at Martinsville this week. They got rain delayed for a little bit, and then NASCAR finally said, you know what? We got these rain tires. Let's throw them on the trucks and see what happens. Definitely not something that they have ever done in the past, but hey, it provided some good racing, and a lot of tempers flared at Martinsville in the Truck Series. Carson Hocevar, definitely the big one there. Tried to retaliate, ended up wrecking himself, pulled a Peyton Tulloch at IRP in the Truck Series. Tried to retaliate, and he ended up getting the short end of the stick in his own wreck. But yeah, and then NASCAR said, you know what, you're going to do that. We're going to sit you on pit road for 2 laps. So Tuck, start us off with how that Truck Series went, because it was an interesting one.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, Hocevar kind of just has been doing this throughout his career, man. Like he hasn't learned. He's tried to cause cautions. He's tried to wreck people intentionally because he gets raced hard. I mean, he used to be one of the fan favorites, and now everybody's just kind of like hating on him. So, I mean, with that situation, like if he expects to get a ride higher up, then he's gonna have to tone it down a little bit. And I think he can do that, but he just got to mature. Everybody matures their own way, so he just have to look himself in the mirror and just tell him that he needs to be able to race guys a little bit cleaner. And then, like you said, with the rain tires, it was a eventful race. You race in the wet, damp conditions, and then you didn't, and then you race in the rain, and you waited on the rain. So they were just stopping and quitting the whole time. And then I think Kyle Busch said it best because he spent all that money on those rain tires that didn't get used. So if the I think if they would have spent all the money on on those tires, then they should have just finished it. That's just my opinion though. But I forget who won the race. Corey Heim. Yeah,
Yep.
Corey Heim first win at Tricon Garage. So congrats to them, and I think that's the first race he's led all season though too with that number 11 truck. So he's gonna be a force to reckon with in the truck series. So top guy at Toyota, I think probably their number 1 prospect. So congrats to him, and forget where they go next. I think they go to Kansas next for the truck. So it'll be a while for the next truck race.
Yeah, an interesting race all around for the trucks. Starting off on the rain tires. Everybody wants to say, it started raining later in the race, and obviously NASCAR called it. And everybody's like, we should, just put those tires back on. I just think NASCAR isn't willing to take the risk like they did COTA that year. We saw what happens if they race in the rain. I think they've kind of come to a compromise. Like, we won't race in rain, but we'll race in wet. Kind of meet in the middle there. But like those tires actually had fall off, and we're putting on actually a decent show. So I'd like to see a little bit more testing and use of them. But as a race of itself, like Carson, y'all guys talked about it. He did put out, had a flat. If you watch the replay, the tire, the first time we can see it is flat, but I'm about 80% sure that's just a cover up and he did it. He's a repeat offender on this. He did it with I forget his name. It's the dude that drives the nine truck, but he did it at IRP. He right hooked him into the wall. So or tried, Martinsville he tried to, but I've always liked Carson, but how much I liked him, maybe just a year ago to now, it's definitely dropped off. I get Ross is like his mentor, but I don't think Ross is trying to teach him this kind of narrative. He needs to calm down, look himself in the mirror and clean it up a little bit, or he's going to continue losing support. But like Tuck said, congrats to Corey Heim. He's an upcoming star in NASCAR. We've seen him have speed, and now it's his first season running full time, and he gets a win, so he'll be in the playoffs. So good win for him.
Absolutely. The big story of the Truck Series is, the domination so far this season by Zane Smith and Front Row Motorsports and F38 truck. But another guy that has, obviously worked his way up there and he's leading the standings right now is Ty Majeski. No wins, just has been extremely consistent. 7 races so far this season, and he's got 6 top 10s, 5 top 5s. Consistency, whether he's winning or not, has got him that 26-point lead. So Thor Sport has got to be absolutely ecstatic the way him and Ben Rhodes are running. Ben Rhodes is in the top 5 as well. So, and then, further down, you got Crafton right now in 7th. He's obviously one of the veterans of the Truck Series that knows how to get it done. But so with Ty Majeski holding this, do you see anywhere in the future here where any of these guys, Zane Smith or whoever else, can get up there and challenge him with no wins, and he still has just under a 30-point lead?
I think the truck, it's just not a big sample size. I mean, Majeski's been probably the most consistent guy the whole year, which he's gotten 6 top 10s and 7 starts. So, I mean, consistency is key. I mean, you see what Ross has been doing in the Cup Series. So he's been running top 10 basically the whole year. And same way if Bowman wouldn't have had the penalty, so he would have been up there too. So if there's one guy that's like down the list that I could see possibly, like you said, Ben Rhodes, truck champion before, and then another guy that's kind of just like hanging around there, like in decent equipment. Got some good tracks coming up is Grant Enfinger. I mean, he won an IRP last year, and he's run consistently good this year too. He's 6th in the points. So, but I will say this though about the Truck Series though this season, you don't really have a dominant guy like you've had in the past. Like there's not really that many like hot prospects like you've had with Eric Jones and then Christopher Bell. So I mean, it's the widest open season I've seen in the Truck Series, and I couldn't tell you how long. So you can throw 10 names in the hat and pull one out, and that's gonna be your truck champion. So as of right now, earlier in the season, I'll probably give the nod to Zane Smith, probably because he's probably the guy with the most experience. Him and Ben Rhodes. So those are the 2 guys I would say though that could contend with Majeski, and then Finger too. He also has the most experience.
Yeah, Tuck hit it on it perfect. I mean, he took the words from my mouth. He's kind of had that Rochester kind of season so far. Maybe not winning, but just been right there. I mean, people will, kind of forget if ThorSport doesn't bring up, the defending Cup champion, the Bristol Dirt, Ty Majeski would have dominated that race. Those 2 were the best trucks all night. So he would have won that race, and we wouldn't be talking about him not having wins. But yeah, he's been on a roll since the end of last year. He got hot, made the Final 4, and he's kind of used all that momentum and just kind of carried himself. So nice little turnaround for him. And him and Zane, I think, are the favorites right now. But like Tuck said, I mean, there's so many guys, and with trucks having so many young dudes, like the Grays are developing, Himes developing, Rajay and Daniel Dye came over this year, both rookies. Like, there's a lot of young guys who are going to continue getting better. So it's really hard to kind of say like who's going to be, who's going to get up there at the end of the year. Because you're going to have guys that get better throughout the year, and they'll start being threats near the end. So yeah, trucks is getting interesting.
Like one guy that's really intrigued me this season is he's not in the top 10 right now. Nick Sanchez. I mean, he led all those laps at Texas.
Yep.
I mean, and he was up front with Kyle Busch battling him at Las Vegas. So the kid's got talent. I think he's one guy. If the Chevy ends up keeping him in the next couple of years, I think he'll be the one guy. So Nick Sanchez and like you already hit on, Carson Hocevar also has a win too. So, but yeah, Nick Sanchez, you gotta be looking out for him this season as we're here.
Absolutely. Let's move it on to the Xfinity Series. John Hunter Nemechek. Boy, did he literally burn down that house, literally. That burnout, man. I know the team owner probably isn't too happy, or the crew that has to work on that car and fix the fire damage. But, man, he absolutely dominated, and that burnout showed just how emotional that win was. So, I don't remember if it was on Instagram or Facebook, and I want to ask you guys this question real quick. It's getting more common, those types of burnouts that are destroying the right rears of the cars and everything. Do you think there's something to this? Do you think teams are doing this so they can't go to post-race inspection?
Whoa.
No, it's the mud flaps, bro.
The mud flaps.
It's
Yeah.
the mud
They're
flaps.
not running those on Xfinity though.
They are. Yeah, because
they
it had the rain tire. The same thing happened to Zane Smith
Oh yeah, they
at
did run
Coda.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, it's not because it's because the mud flap's so cheap and like not durable, so it just catches fire when they're doing the burnout.
I can promise you, in a financial standpoint, a team does not want to burn down a car for a win.
Well, no. I'm not saying burn it down, but I'm saying like where they they blow out the rear tires and it messes up the wheel well. Because I mean, think about. Let's go back a couple years when Chad Knaus got in trouble talking to Johnson on pit lane, and he said, "If you win this race, you have got to hit that rear, damage the rear." It was on camera, and that's how Knaus got suspended. Wow. It was literally on camera in his in-car camera.
I think that's a reach.
Yeah,
I think it's a little bit of reach because literally after Larson won, I was thinking, "Oh crap, here's gonna be another fire," like because they had the mud flaps on theirs. So I don't think it's really an issue. So I think it was just a fluky thing twice, and NASCAR providing crappy ass mud flaps to the teams. So. Which that sucks for Joe Gibbs too, because they had a perfectly good car and now it's freaking burnt to hell.
Yeah,
so,
especially one that they could take in later on in the season.
Yeah, that's another thing too. If they were cheating and like doing stuff, I don't think they would want to burn down one of their best cars. So that's another thing too. So.
No, I agree. I absolutely love the burnout. Obviously it adds to it. But yeah, I mean, it absolutely dominated. And Joe Gibbs is they're on a roll right now.
Is Peyton froze on your screen too?
Oh, yeah, he is. All right, well, we have lost. We've lost Peyton. All right, well, we're off to a great start on that one. But Nemechek's leading the points, Matt, by 21 over Austin Hill. Austin Hill absolutely started the season off on fire, and then he's kind of slowed off a little bit here.
Well, I think Austin Hill will. God, I'm just. Can you get him off the screen?
I'm trying.
Yeah, right. I think Austin Hill. He's come up to one of his good tracks though at Talladega, so I think he'll be right back into it. But the RCR equipment really hasn't been great since Reddick won the championship, so I could see them get a little bit better, but I think Austin Hill's been outrun his equipment too. So, and especially he's arguably the best plate racer right now in Xfinity too. So, I could see him possibly winning again this week. So he's probably the most talented guy. So that's what I think. But another guy to probably look out for this week too at Talladega is Cole Custer, probably the most guy with experience too. So, but a couple of those guys trying to get up there and challenge Nemechek, like you said. But I think Nemechek's probably him and Custer and Hemrick, the only guys that have had Cup experience. So, and Nemechek's in the best car too. So, that's all I got from that. So, I don't think Peyton's really got anything to say.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Cole Custer, this is one of those tracks that he definitely can get a win at. And obviously he needs a win. Sitting right now 8th in the points. He's got one, possibly two cars opening up at Stewart-Haas in the Cup Series next season.
Yep.
Do you think right now we're just about quarter of the way into the season for Cup, so obviously Xfinity's getting there too. Do you think he has shown his potential to get back up into Cup?
No, he doesn't have a win.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. I said it before the season. If Cole Custer wants to get back into the Cup Series, he's got to win 6 to 8 races. So he's got to have that 1 year that he had back in, what was that, 2019,
Mm-hmm.
where he won all those races, and that's what got him promoted up to the 41 car when Kurt Busch left. So if I'm Stuart Haas, I'm not wanting him in the 4 car. I mean, he just got demoted for Ryan Preece, who just led all those laps at Martinsville. Yet no one's seen Cole Custer do that at all.
Right.
I mean, people forget, like, Cole Custer only led 4 laps his whole rookie year, or 10 laps or something like that. And 2 of them were at Kentucky on that late race restart. So if I'm still Stuart Haas, I'm still trying to go after Christopher Bell if he doesn't have a contract. So that's the one guy that I would go after. So, but to answer your question, I don't think Cole Custer's shown anything that says Cup Series. So
Is Peyton back?
yeah,
he is.
Peyton's
No,
back.
no.
Hey, you're not frozen anymore.
Yeah, great time for the internet to drop. My bad, everybody.
No, you're good. We're just looking at your face, and I go, is Peyton just like froze?
So pick us up here, Peyton. So we were just talking about Cole Custer. He's sitting 8th in the points, no wins or anything. 1, potentially 2 Cup rides opening up next season at Stuart Haas. Do you think he has shown what he needs to at this point, a quarter of the way into the season, to earn his way back up there?
We're still so early though. You got to remember, like Cole Custer was it 2019 when he last ran Xfinity full time.
Mhm.
So, I mean, this is a huge transition from him. He's going from the next gen back down, and he has a bunch of pressure on him. Like, I think it was unrealistic to expect him to get in the car and be like winning races automatically. But we saw it last week at Martinsville. He actually ran really well. I think he was probably the second best car there, and throughout the entire race. So. Yeah, I'm not too worried about Custer this season. I think he'll continue getting better, and I think he'll finally get victory lane here soon. But as for moving up next season, I mean, I think he's probably one of the high ones up there. I mean, people don't want to admit it, but I mean, he's like kind of almost a vet at this point in the next gen. He's got a lot of experience in it, in Cup as well. So while I don't think he's going to go to Cup and just start putting up numbers randomly, I think he's probably a safe option if you want consistent guy that has he's not going to sit there and wreck a bunch of cars. I think that he's probably makes sense. So we'll see if a team just kind of wants that or someone actually wants like a champion driver. Cole Custer will never be a Cup champion. That's kind of not take a shot at him, but he will be a reliable driver. So it kind of just depends what a team's looking for.
So basically, you think Cole Custer will have that Paul Menard aspect?
I think he's he's kind of like a Paul Menard, Michael McDowell kind of guy. Like he'll just kind of be there. He'll be good, but he'll never be great. That's kind of what I'm saying.
I just don't see what he's done through the first 8 races to say get promotion though.
Mhm.
Like if he just still has this like line of like consistent top 10 and probably one of the most top cars in the Xfinity series, because he won 7 races in that car literally 4 years ago. Probably arguably against better competition too, with when you had Bell and Reddick racing against him. So
I
now
don't know if Stuart Haas is at that point anymore. Like they went out there and won races with him and Chase Briscoe, a few years back, but I mean, not to hate on Riley. The second Riley got in, you could tell this program just kind of like Cup has fell off. So I don't even know if we can compare Stuart Haas as a team to what they were back, 3-4 years ago. And ever since Coles came in, I mean, him and Riley have actually put up some pretty good numbers. Riley's having his best year as Stuart Haas.
that is true. I mean, yeah, Riley Herbst, 8 starts, 6 top 10, so he's been probably one of the most consistent guys in Xfinity too.
And
So
I think those 2 races he didn't get top 10s. He got wrecked out
he got
inside
wrecked out,
the
yeah.
top 10. So
It was Atlanta and I forget the other racetrack. It wasn't
Martinsville.
Martinsville. You just got wrecked. Yeah, you just got wrecked.
So let's move things on here to the Cup Series side of everything. Obviously, the big story NASCAR made sure that you knew about it. Chase Elliott
Cody
returned.
Ware!
No, not Cody Ware. No
Oh,
one cares about
okay.
Cody Ware. Cody Ware's gone in the past. Moved
Got
on.
arrested again.
Yeah, he did get arrested again. But Yeah, Chase Elliott, his return after a 6-week hiatus. Definitely a very interesting track to make his return to. Probably the most breaking that we have seen or gonna see here coming up. But he had a solid race. I mean, he ran around 20 to 25th all race and got up there in the top 10 with the pit strategy. But yeah, he had a pretty solid race. But the people that had a great race, the results don't show, but Stuart Haas Racing all the way around. All 4 of their cars qualified in the top 10. Absolute dominance between the 41 and the 14. Harvick got up there for a little bit, picking right back up where he left off last short track at Phoenix, picking right back up there, and just pure dominance by SHR. But once again, results did not go their way.
Yeah, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Stuart Haas driver, the number 22, Joey Logano, getting the top 5 for them. So shout out to Logano. So he was strong all day. No, but all serious, I mean, that this was the most complete race by all 4 Stuart Haas cars, probably in the last 5 years. You have not seen this type of dominance since it was Boyer, Kurt Busch, Harvick, and who am I forgetting?
Sure won Danica.
Almirola. Yeah, Almirola. I mean, Almirola's 18 year because people forget Almirola finished 5th in the points in 2018. So he that 2018. So yeah, 5 years ago. So they showed their short track program, arguably probably one of the top teams. So I mean, Briscoe kind of got ruined on strategy because he led second race high laps. He led over 100 laps, and then Almirola kind of got screwed with that Suarez incident where he got moved out of the way. So then that kind of set him back, and he couldn't really pass and get back to the top 5. So, but yeah, like you said, I think Stuart Haas probably has the best short track program. I mean, they've shown it the first 2 packages, or first 3 races now. So, but it really sucks for Priest, man, because I thought it would have been his coming out race where he was shown that he was the right pick that Stewart picked him, and he was going to get that good finish. And then I think he panicked where he thought he was going to not be able to get the lead and just gassed it a little too quick trying to exit the pit road. So that sucks, but I think it's a learning opportunity. So next time he's in that spot, he's not going to do it again.
Yeah, I think NASCAR did a little dirty on his pit stall. I don't know if y'all noticed, but they didn't allow them to have the exact first stall. So being the second, normally that leader can just gas it all the way, but the second he couldn't, and he got caught. But why the positives of this race for Stuart Haas are awesome, but the negatives, I mean, this is the one that coulda, shoulda, woulda been. I mean, Eric Almirola, I don't know if he was. I mean, he was really good today, or Sunday, but I don't think he necessarily had a winning car. But the other 3, I mean, I can mark down why each one lost. I mean, Priest sped, ruined his day. If he doesn't speed, he has a really good chance to win that thing. Kevin Harvick, if he doesn't have his pit road problems, I mean, that dude very well could have won that thing. And then Chase Briscoe, if it goes green, he probably wins it. But with that late yellow, he took 4, and we saw all day that track position was just too key. So, 3 guys that I think really had an awesome chance to win this thing, all 3 not winning it. That's painful for Stuart Haas. I mean, they really should have probably won this race. But hey, at least they can look at the positives. I mean, that is an amazing day for Stuart Haas as of late. So hopefully they can kind of carry some momentum here. Hopefully we don't, see them. I know next week's Talladega, but hopefully we don't go to a mile and a half and Chase Briscoe's running 30th again. So we'll see how it goes. But man, that's a tough pill to swallow. They really should have got a win this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's 2 races now that have just gotten away from them. That they could have Harvick 2 trophies sitting on their shelf right now. Harvick at Phoenix and then Martinsville. Like you mentioned that could have went to any of the 3 drivers, and then Almirola had a solid run in the top 5 all day, So, yeah, that, like you said, that's going to be a hard one to swallow, and hope it doesn't affect them too long, because there's a lot of season left. I mean, we're just now a quarter of the way through, 8 out of 36 races. So still a lot of season left. And, looking where they are now to where they started out the season, they've made some pretty big improvements so far. I know you mentioned it, Matt, about their short track package. Well, they've found it right here in this new track package.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show. Like, I kind of go back to the NASCAR saying how the next gen car was supposed to level the playing field. So, I mean, 2021 was the last year. That was when Harvick kind of faded off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that was when they only got like what, one win with Almirola. Yeah, one win with Almirola. So
At New Hampshire.
yeah. So I mean, they're just trying to dig back to what they had back in the mid 2010s. So where they were one of the top 4 car teams. So I think you got to give kind of also credit to NASCAR with the next gen car too, kind of helping them out. So and it goes to show that just that Stuart Haas is still one of the top teams. So you want to drive for them. So I think that really it's really gonna they're really gonna need more stronger runs because if they want to get a better prospect to come to that 4 car next year, they're going to show that they still got top equipment too. So, but I think if we go back to talking about who's in the 4 car, I mean, right now there's literally you could throw 10 names in the hat, like I said again, then you can pull one out. That's gonna be your driver. So we'll see, we'll see. So you got a lot of guys that have a lot of opportunities. So
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of racing left too.
And not only
Absolutely.
that, but I still argue that if I had to predict it right now, I still think they sell their charter. I think they downsize. So there's no clue what Stuart Haas ends up doing.
I
Um,
want Bell to go there so bad.
we'll see.
You think
I
he
know.
would go there?
I think he would. I think he would want to
Um,
race for Stewart.
if it depends how important his dirt background is. If he wants to
Hmm.
continue
Yeah.
driving, competitive equipment, like obviously he'll stay
Yeah.
with Joe Gibbs. I think they're definitely better than Stuart Haas right now. But if he really cares about his dirt program, Tony will let him do it. So we'll see.
Yep.
So we just crossed the quarter way of the season here. What has
Hmm.
been your key highlight through these first 8 races? Start us off, Peyton.
Hmm. And that's a crazy question to
For the
ask.
Cup
And
Series?
Yeah, yeah, Cup
that's
Series, yeah.
Okay.
um, I think I still think the highlight of the season is probably still got to be Ricky's move to win the Daytona 500. I think that was a crazy moment. A small team getting it done, Ricky in the playoffs, and really kind of changed their whole season. I mean, of course, that's what Daytona 500 does, but they've used that momentum. Like Ricky's ran better than he really has almost ever. So, I mean, just in Martinsville, did he just finish top 10? I mean, that's a usually that would be unexpected. Like, oh
Mm-hmm.
wow, the 47 finished in the top 10 at Martinsville, like something fluky must have happened. But no, I mean yeah, he played a little bit of the strategy right, but still, I mean he held on right. So I think that would definitely be my highlight so far. But the season's still young.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Matt, what you got?
I'm gonna go with the resurgence of Kyle Busch. So I
That
think
was mine.
like him him getting that win early in the season,
Mhm.
that Fontana, like, and then all the fans just like cheering for him, like that was just like a new thing. Like it's never been, never hasn't happened to Kyle Busch. It's kind of weird when people cheer for him now. So I think that's what I would have to say. And then also probably the RFK cars, but still both being in the top 16 for playoffs
Mhm.
too. So I think those two are kind of good storylines. And then but yeah, I'd say Kyle Busch.
Yeah, that's definitely the highlight that I would have to go with as well. I mean, people question, all right, was this move the right one? Going from Joe Gibbs Racing to top of the top and NASCAR down to RCR, who hasn't had the greatest history here these last 10 years or so. I mean, their only real highlight was, Dylan winning the 500s, and it's just, and then for second race of the season for him to come out there and get the win. I mean, that was huge. Immediately
Right.
picking right back up where the old Kyle Busch was, but just with a different mentality. So yeah, like you said, and then to see the fans react. Years prior, 90% of the fans would have been booing him, but there were very little boos that day. So, it's
Yep.
been awesome to see the change in Kyle Busch and just the way that the fans have reacted to him and kind of accepted him now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, if I'd have got a little more time to think about that, definitely the Kyle resurgence was probably the biggest, but I'll definitely still take Ricky as a shout out.
underdogs that underdogs in the Daytona
Yeah,
500 are
yeah,
always a good thing to
Not
talk about too.
Stenhouse.
So.
I'm not a fan of Stenhouse at all.
man, Stenhouse is all right.
Can we talk about how Ryan Blaney has still not won a points-paying race since
Yeah,
2021?
that should be the highlight of the season. Ryan Blaney's still got a big old
And
zero.
where's this end stream button?
Hey, I picked him last week. I mean, I thought he was gonna run good, and then he goes out there and like blows both turns in qualifying, and then ends up 31st. So,
But
thanks,
hey,
Ryan.
don't worry about it. He got up there to 13th by the end of stage 1.
Hey, he's coming to his best track though this weekend.
Yeah, yeah, that's another thing. He was just inducted into the Talladega Hall of Fame this week too.
I saw
that was pretty cool. But let's talk about the NASCAR 75. Yesterday, Greg Biffle was announced that he was in there, and today Sterling Marlin. That is awesome. Sterling Marlin was always one of those good guys in NASCAR. You know, did he have the success? Yes and no. You know, you can say the same with Greg Biffle, but what he did off the track helps as well. So, two key guys of NASCAR in the early 2000s, finally getting some recognition here.
Yeah, I'm liking the list so far. I mean, we're getting some nice, unique picks, not necessarily the obvious ones. So, really cool to see. I mean, Greg Biffle and Sterling Martin. I mean, those are guys that I'm not gonna say I wouldn't think about, but they're definitely like more of the bubble. Like they're not like the first people you would throw out there. So, nice to see those guys getting some recognition.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
especially when people think of Sterling Marlin. I mean, honestly, the first thing that comes into my mind is his move at Daytona when he jumped out of the car, pulled his fender out under red flag while leading, had the best car all day, and ruined his race.
Yeah, he just handed Ward Burton that win, so that was nuts. No, but like, I guess the thing I think about with Sterling Martin is back-to-back Daytona 500 wins too, early '90s. So I think those were his first 2 Cup wins, if I'm not mistaken. Like, were both Daytona 500, so I think that's pretty cool. So I think only him and I think Michael Waltrip are the only 2 guys that can say they did that.
Yeah.
So I think Waltrip's first 2 were Daytona 500. So that's pretty cool. But also then Greg Biffle, truck champion, guy that's been stuck around. So that's also. But I'm gonna counter you with a Greg Biffle question for both of you. So sorry if I get off topic.
Mm-hmm.
If Greg Biffle gets in the top 75, does Carl Edwards get into the top 75?
100%. Absolutely.
Do you, even though they've kept him out of the Hall of Fame, does Carl Edwards get him?
I think Cousin Carl, in all reality, should have made it for Biffle. If we're gonna base it on stats and everything like that, I think he makes it before Biffle. But obviously, that's not what NASCAR's going with in this.
Right.
But absolutely, Cousin Carl has got to make it. I mean, we have never seen a guy celebrate the way he does.
Right.
No one does backflips off a car after running 400 laps. And then the only thing I think that would keep him out of it is if NASCAR still does not appreciate the way he just walked out of the sport because he didn't agree with their political rulings and stuff like that. I think that might be the only thing that hurts him.
Because that's what's keeping him out of the Hall of Fame, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer based on 100% standards.
Absolutely.
But he's not. So that was why I was thinking if I always put Biffle and Edwards on the same like pedestal like of talent and like driving styles and all that because they were the same team. So but like you said, like the way Edwards just kind of like dropped the mic, said I'm out, like see you guys later, then literally just vanished. Like no one's like seen or heard of him like ever since. So I don't know. And then the Hall of Fame keeping him out too. So that's one guy I'm really interested to see if he's going to be on this list.
Another guy that you just reminded me of with this, Jeremy Mayfield.
No, he's not getting in.
You don't think so?
No, he's not being top 75.
You don't think so?
No.
Nope.
Because of his quote unquote drug?
No,
situation?
I don't think he did enough. He only won like what eight races.
Well, if they're gonna put Kyle Petty on the list,
well, Kyle Petty was already on the list, wasn't he?
I don't think so.
Well, I don't think he is. I don't think he's on it yet, is he?
No, but I'm just saying. I believe they're gonna put him on there.
So what they're doing, that's the thing I don't like about this list is because they're basically rewarding mediocrity.
It's a popularity thing.
Yeah, I you gotta. There has to be like a standard with this.
Mhm.
Like you can't just say like it's basically like biased top 75. It's not the true top 75 guys.
Right.
That's just what I think. I don't know if you guys think the same thing,
Mhm.
but so
Yep.
eh, I just think that. Also, another name, Jimmy Johnson hasn't been announced. When is Jimmy Johnson going to be announced to the top 75? Because he
He'll
wasn't
probably
on
be
the top
last.
50 before.
He'll
Probably.
be last. He'll
But
round out
watch
75.
watch them accidentally leave off Jimmy Johnson, then have to like, sorry, we got to kick you off. That'd be hilarious.
I'm interested to see if Chase gets on the list at this rate. You know, Larson's on the list, and you know we're starting to get these guys. I almost would assume he's gonna be, but that'd be an interesting pick to go on this list.
I could see him getting on it.
Mhm.
Since they
I
already
think-
put
I
Larson.
hate to say it, but
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be on it too. We'll see though. Championship kind of carrying him there a little bit.
Mhm.
It'd be interesting to see because like then we can like see who gets snubbed from the list, and then we can talk about
Yeah.
that later on too.
Yeah, especially
we
the
can-
active drivers. I mean, it'd be
Mhm.
interesting
Yeah.
to see all the active ones on there and who's not. So like, what if Chase Elliott gets it, but then like, dang, I don't know, just somebody obvious just misses it. It's like, oh Lord.
Right. I mean, you got Logano, you got
Yeah.
Brad, you've got,
Durex,
yeah, Truex, so
Hamlin.
there's going to be
So,
some
you
people
got-
that do get left off of this,
Yeah.
you
So what we're saying is we got to stick around another 25 years. 25 years later,
See
do
if
this
they
all
make it.
over
Yeah.
again. They do the
Yeah.
top
Laugh
100.
at 'em.
Welcome to the NEXXTCAR podcast, season 84, episode 7.
No, it's season 20. No, it's season 25 because it's
Yeah.
only 25 years. We're not that
Oh,
old.
Lord.
No. We're basing it off the NEXXTCAR seasons.
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
okay, gotcha.
You know?
Okay.
But some big news coming out of from Colleague today there, Matt. Go ahead and walk us through that one.
All I gotta say is that NASCAR can suck it, and we back in the top 25, baby. So
Congrats. You went 27th to 25th.
I don't care. It also, the way NASCAR worded it, like they basically say, yeah, if Hendrick gets this, might as well give it to Colleague too. Like, I don't understand that. If there wasn't a penalty, then why did you? The whole thing is just so fishy. I don't know if you think that too, Peyton, but it just goes to show that NASCAR and the people affiliated with NASCAR favors their top teams based on and not their middle to lower series teams. So that's what I got from their wording today.
I mean, I read into it after I saw it, and honestly, like I'm pretty excited about it because it looks like NASCAR went out of their way. I mean, we all know that when the Hendrick rule came out, I mean, obviously NASCAR gets these penalties, they want them to stand. We've talked about that. When Hendrick got away with it, basically, and then Collie goes in the next week and a new panel rule, something completely different. I mean, that just puts NASCAR in the worst situation possible. So NASCAR accepted defeat, took their L, went to the final appeals officer and told him, we want this to be even. We don't like how, it looks different on paper right now. And that's what they did. They made things right. I know that was painful for NASCAR to do, but they made it fair and equal. And, as a racing fan, I think that's an absolute win because while, both of them definitely broke the rules, that's kind of obvious at this point. It's not fair for one to serve a penalty one way and another to serve the penalty another way. So shout out to NASCAR for going in there and making it fair and equal.
Absolutely.
What's up, Loki?
Yeah, Loki's making his weekly appearance.
Yep.
Excuse you. But Hamlin made some interesting comments on his podcast here. Run it by you guys real quick.
When doesn't he?
Yeah, but I 100% agree with this one. He said, NASCAR, give us back our 900 horsepower package for short track racing for passes. Absolutely love it.
I'll stop at short tracks.
Exactly. I agree. Bring back the old
I will
horsepower.
I will say this, though. I'm probably in the minority with this. I kind of like the racing right now at Martinsville, basically because they are not wrecking each other. Like, I saw a thing on, it's like they had like only like 4 cautions like 2 due to instances.
Mhm.
But compared to like the early to like 5-10 years ago where they had like 16 different cautions, I would rather them be racing like the whole time and not wrecking each other. That's just me though, but as a fan, I guess. Like I don't want to see them wreck. Like I'm not one of those guys that comes to the races for crashes.
I mean, I agree with you on that, but just to prove how bad like the package was this weekend, Joey Logano and Ross Chastain qualified horribly. Well, Joey had to go to the back and couldn't pass anyone. I know Ryan Blaney was able to do it, and a few other guys were able to, but we know like Joey and Ross, like there's no way those cars were 32nd and 33rd on speed. They sat back there. One of them went a lap down to the end of the stage. They both came back and lead lap. Fast forward in the race, Ross makes a move to stay out and holds on to it, finishing top 5 in the stage. And then Joey later in the race does the same thing and steals a second place. Both guys were in the 30s at the end of stage 1. Couldn't pass anyone. That's sad. That just tells you how bad it was to pass. Either those guys couldn't pass or it was so hard to pass for other guys like they were able to hold. Like either way, like there's no reason that we should ever have that. If a guy's running 30th and stays out, he should fall back every time. So that I don't know. I didn't like it. I thought it was way too hard to pass. Whoever had the lead basically had control. I mean, Larson, that's the whole reason why he won this race is strategy and track
Mhm.
position. So I don't like it. I mean, yes, I don't want to see guys wreck. I don't go to watch NASCAR races just to see them wreck. I mean, sure, at super speedways, that's kind of one of the most like excitement things that come up. Like, when is it going to happen? But most tracks, I just want to see good racing. And Martinsville, when good racing happens, it kind of just brings crashes naturally. So that's my opinion on
Well,
it.
the thing was there was good racing throughout the whole field. They just
Was
when they
there?
got stranded out, yeah, they were side by side, like most of the
Mm.
field.
I mean, you've had
Yeah,
guys like complain. I almost half the field complaining after the end of the race and not being able to pass. So I don't know how good of a racing that truly is.
I I mean, I get
Yeah,
it.
I
Like,
didn't hear anybody say, "Oh yeah, man, this was an awesome race. I loved it as a driver." If you could find a driver that said it was a good race, let me know.
probably be
Besides Kyle
Larson.
Larson, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
besides Kyle Larson,
and Logano.
yeah, those two, yeah,
Only the
But
last 10 laps for Logano.
that's
yeah,
true.
Don't ask him
I
about the
mean,
first 2 stages.
yeah. He should be thankful that Ross is like a key blocker and was able to hold on there. If Ross goes a lap down, that dude would have been nowhere to
when's the
see.
next short track? What's the next short track on the schedule?
New Hampshire, I think.
An interesting.
Are they using it at Dover?
No.
They're
No,
not.
So, technically
North
Wilkesboro.
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 Yeah.
Oh, dude, if they can't pass there, and
Yeah.
if it's a real snoozer, well, that's not gonna look good.
Yeah.
So we'll
Mar-
we'll see that in a couple weeks.
Yep.
Martinsville is usually one of like the better, more exciting races, and the last 3 or so. I mean, the last year playoff race wasn't bad. It kind of gets boosted by Ross's move, of course, but and the playoff drama. But the last 2 spring races were just I don't think they were good at all. So if North Wilkesboro when they go, if they don't put on a good show, man, that's gonna really hurt the crowd wanting to see them, go there. So we'll see.
I don't
Look,
know if
he's
you
doing
can see him in
donuts.
the bottom left corner, but
He's chasing
old
his
boy's
tail.
chasing his tail.
He's doing donuts.
He's just trying to do the Kyle Larson burnout, just rapid style.
Oh, Luke. Well, fellas, it's that time. Talladega next week. Start us off, Matt. Who you got?
I honestly forgot about picks when we were doing this, so I'm just gonna wing it.
Oh, God, don't throw
So-
your bone. Don't do it.
Here
No.
we go.
All right, so Talladega. I could pick anybody. So let's go with. You know what? I feel like he ran up front last year a lot. I'm gonna go with my lock as William Byron. I think he runs up front up there most of the time up there. And my long shot, I'm gonna go with Eric Jones. He was up front last year, made a bad block. then end up losing that spring race at Dega. If he's in that same position this year, I feel like he doesn't throw the block and he wins the race. So I'll go with Byron and then Eric Jones.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure you know who my lock's going to be. The guy who
JJ Yaley.
Eh?
Oh.
No. The guy just got inducted into the Talladega Hall of Fame. He's won 2 of his career races there, one being in the playoff and a drag race with Ryan Newman. But Ryan Blaney, I think you mentioned it, Peyton. He hasn't won since 2021. So I think this could be the race that he can finally park that 12 back in victory lane. And then I'm kind of sounding like a broken record here with my sleeper picks. But Corey LaJoie, that number 7, boy. He was running good at Martinsville. He was up there in the top 10 for a little bit, and then he fell off. I don't know if his tires gave way or what.
It's hard with the crap and Bush moving.
Yeah, everyone started just moving the poor little guy out of his way. Like, they were just treating him like a redheaded stepchild at Martinsville, basically. But, yeah, I mean, I think Corey LaJoie, I mean, we saw what he could do at Atlanta. You know, he was pretty solid there. I think that he could have himself another solid race here this week at Talladega. So those are my 2 picks, Blaney and LaJoie.
Yeah.
Hey, I like it. I like it. For me this week, I'm just gonna kind of go with the safe pick. I'm gonna go the defending winner with Ross here. You know, if a few more weeks, you know, any moment now, if Ross is to win a race, you're gonna kind of start hearing stuff about him because we're like right around a year since Ross has won.
It's exactly a year.
Yeah,
exactly
so
a year.
This is the last race that Ross won. So while Ross has, you know, went on a streak here of like multiple, like leading the league in top 5s by a good margin, he's not winning. So, you know, I know that kind of bugs him a little bit. So, you know, it's the return of the Moose car. You know, he won in this car, you know, here last year. And, you know, the last time he drove it was Martinsville. So, you know, he might not win, but I know he's going to bring chaos with the Moose car. So, I'm going to go Ross this week to finally get back in victory lane after a long little drought here. And sleeper wise, I really wanted to go with Noah Gragson, but Legacy has just kind of been bad this year. I don't know if we've looked at or you guys looked at points, but Noah's losing to the 15 car of Rick Ware. Like that's how bad it's been. I don't know what is going on with that team, and that's why I just don't really want to pick them. So I'm gonna go with a ride that you know you would think is worse, but the driver excites me. I'm gonna go with Austin Hill.
I knew that's what you were gonna say. I knew that.
I just think that team's a little team. They only come out for these things, but Austin Hill has just been so good at super speedways and Xfinity. And while that car might not be the best, I think he's gonna be able to put it in position to finish well and be there at the end. So I'm gonna go with Austin Hill as a sleeper this week.
I like that.
Some pretty solid picks there. I was surprised no one picked up like Truex or Harvick or.
Well, Truex never won a super speedway race.
And Harvick, I mean,
Harvick's last super speedway win was beating McMurray.
Yeah, that's true. Back in the 29.
He had to have a good track record here. Don't forget that Talladega race. He wrecked the whole field.
Where he spun Bane.
Yeah.
I will say this though. I think the racing last year at Talladega was really good. There wasn't any huge wrecks or anything. So I as soon as I say that now, they're gonna be all crashing each other this week. So I'm really interested to see how it goes. So I hope it's a good race. I think it will be. So and super speedways are my favorite too. So I'm excited.
I don't like your opinion on racing, Tuck. I think the super speedway package has been kind of broken since we went to next gen. I mean, we're talking about you go in 2 lanes and no one wants to go to the 3rd lane. We don't even see that anymore. And to win the race, you're going to have to be in the top 4, 5, or 6 to even have a shot at the end. When back in the day, you could be running 13th with a shot in the last lap. So I don't really like it, but hey, I'm glad somebody does.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that one, Peyton. The 500 this year was kind of boring.
I mean, yeah, it was kind of terrible for its.
It wasn't a typical 500.
No. I want pack racing. I don't want them to ride in 2 drag lines. That's basically what they are right now. They're just drag racing each other.
There's only one track that's acceptable, and that's Atlanta.
Yeah. Atlanta's fine with that, but Dega and Daytona, if we go to Dega this weekend and, they have, 4 or 5 lanes and we see them run, 2 wide, that's just going to tell you how terrible this package is. I'd rather see, what was it, partner bump drafting again. Had the freaking
Oh,
that system.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
I
I
hated
would rather-
tandem.
I would
Tandem
rather have
drafting
that
was the
than what we
worst
got.
era of NASCAR.
We tried that last night. Me and Kat did, and that didn't work out very well.
Hey, y'all
so.
pulled it out right there at the end, so it almost
Uh,
worked.
did you see the finish, Ronnie, of the
No.
shootout?
Uh-uh.
Well, Peyton had the lead off turn 4, and he didn't win.
I
I'll just say that. Yeah.
Here with you not
I'm
watching,
fine with
I'll
that,
just
though.
sum it up for you. I'll sum it up for you. Do you remember the Daytona race where Kyle Busch and Tony Stewart's in the Burger King car that year?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he spun him
on the
because he's
line,
mirror driving.
and Kyle Busch was mirror driving, and that's exactly what happened. I was mirror driving like a mug, and got myself wrecked for it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. Kyle Petty up in the booth. Oh, he's mirror driving. He's gonna get turned for it, but he's mirror driving. Right then, he got turned.
And there you go.
I will say this though, that race last night we had, the last if we go back and watch the last 5 laps, we were passing each other like crazy. It was so much fun. Like
Yeah.
I passed Peyton, and Peyton went to the back, and then Kat passed me. Here comes Peyton like a bat out of hell. Like we were all just like going for it, man. It was fun, and nobody wrecked each other until the last lap.
Yeah.
So it
Well,
was a good
I'm
it was a
glad-
good preview of next week.
I'm glad
we
you,
brought-
Steve, and Alberto didn't win because every time we do good as a team at super speedways for the clashes, we just get wrecked out in the main event. So
That's
all-
what Steve was saying.
all
He
Steve
said
up-
he didn't want to win because
Yeah.
he wouldn't win the 500.
yeah, I mean he won both races last season at the
Mhm.
start of the season and the preseason, and then just got wrecked out in both
Yeah.
main events. So yeah. But guys, y'all got anything else to add to this podcast here?
No, I just
That's good.
hope my picks do better this week. Last week, my picks were looking great, and then they both choked. So
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
mine were looking bad. Even Tuck was talking crap. He's like, "Who picked Truex?" And then Truex came back, thank
Yes.
God. But
Yeah,
I
I got two top 10s. I mean, my long shot was Briscoe last week, and I thought he was going to win the thing, and then nope.
Yeah.
So,
I was
yeah.
excited there. I mean, there was a part of the race where like Priest was winning my long shot, and then freaking Bowman was going through the field like he was one of the quickest cars, and Truex back at 30th. I'm like, oh yeah, man, I'm gonna come on here and talk trash to Ronnie, and then they both just choked.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say one of us gets a win this week of
I
one
think
of our
so.
picks. I think
Corey
we all-
baby.
Oh gosh, if that happens, I'll get the Haley Deegan tattoo. If Corey LaJoy wins this week,
Come on,
there you
Corey.
go. That is on record. That is on record.
Come on,
Corey, you better put some nos in that car.
I have just turned into the
That's Celsius. He's sponsored by Celsius.
Yeah, well, you better put
Just
some
like-
nos.
Just like we're sponsored by Dubby.
Oh my god.
It helps if you put it up right.
It's just like, well,
There we go.
it's backwards. So there you go, Dubby.
Dude,
Oh God. Well,
that's
fellas,
always good fun.
Time to do
absolutely.
draft. Time
Yeah.
for the draft.
Absolutely. We got season 3 starting up here. First season with Xfinity and Trucks and Cup coming back. And then Short Tour, let me try that again. Short Tour is returning as well. So definitely got a interesting season coming up. 4 series. It don't get any better than that. NEXXTCAR is definitely on the up and up here. And our fields are looking good. And can't wait to get this one started. And then in June, I'll be back there for Sunday, Monday, so cannot wait.
Hell
Definitely
yeah.
looking forward to that.
Hell yeah.
Looking forward to get back up into the booth and get back out there with the next gen cars.
I didn't even think about it. This is the last podcast before we start the season. So
Yep.
Yeah,
we got racing, next weekend. So I'll be excited to talk about some NEXXTCAR stuff. Next podcast.
absolutely. Yes, sir. But guys, that's going to do it here for episode 14 of the season 2 NEXXTCAR podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll be right back here next Tuesday at 6 to bring the next week's action all to you. Hope you guys enjoyed it.